Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I always say those in the wrong order, but listen, it's some point in the day if you're listening to this, and whatever that day point of the day is. Well, hello. My name is Form. This is Formcast, episode 134, I do believe. And this week is the week, which I have not mentioned on the podcast yet, but this is the week that I am heading down to Toronto, here in Southern Ontario, where I get to go to the FANEXPO. FANEXPO Canada is a giant event held downtown Toronto where multiple celebrities, including Michael J. Fox and even, what's his name? The guy who does, what's his name? Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mike Tyson, amongst a bunch of other celebrities, are going to be showing up to this event all weekend long. And I was lucky enough to be asked and invited to go stream for Cancer Foundation, Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation, to raise funds for this Canadian foundation that is geared towards, trying to help those in need in terms of cancer and cancer patients and their families and friends. So I was going to do this charity stream from home, but among talking with the team and the managers and all that kind of stuff, I was invited because, well, I'm only about 4 hours away. I'm 4 hours north of Toronto, and they had some open slots for Friday. And I said, you know what? Why not? I've never been invited to an event. I've never been invited to a streaming, I don't know what you want to call those things, conferences or conventions, stuff like that. People go to PAX and GameCon this and Comic-Con that and all this kind of stuff, and they get invites to be there as creators and whatnot. I know a few people, a few fellow creators that were at the Battlefield 6 recent event for the unveiling of the beta last week, which is pretty cool. I talked about that in my last podcast. But this week is I want to say it's my week, and it's for a very, very good cause. I've always been really big on doing charity streams. I've done charity streams for foundations and organizations like To Write Love on Our Arms, Hope for the Day, always geared towards mental health, suicide awareness, resources, and help for those in need. But this will be my very first in terms of raising funds for cancer, and that really hits home for not just myself, but many, many people out there. We actually have some community members who have suffered from cancer and luckily beat it, and for a long time to come, we hope. So that being said, it makes it that even more special, but it's also a Canadian foundation. As a Canadian, we don't get those opportunities very often. Oftentimes when I'm reached out to by companies, it's always an American foundation, which still, regardless, we've raised nearly $12,000 in overtime for these foundations I've talked about earlier. But this is going to be a good and special one. So with that being said, on Thursday evening, I'll be heading down to Toronto. I'll be able to meet a few people, which is cool because, in the streaming world, you get to meet a lot of people online, but sometimes you never really get the opportunity to meet them in person. So we'll be able to do that. And then on Friday, we'll be streaming from the FANEXPO itself. They've got these cool setups for us, and I'm already kind of meeting a few streamers there in the Discord community that are attending the convention, the event, as streamers to raise funds for Princess Margaret Foundation. So it's going to be really cool. Already trying to think of incentives and goals and all these kinds of things. But for me, as a Northern Ontario kid, yeah, I'm a kid. I'm 35, but I'm still a kid. It's very, very, very special because we don't get invited to these things unless you are really, really big in the scene of a specific game. I don't know. It's down in the States. There's all these events. There's I mean, like I said, PAX, and there's GameCon, and there's Comic-Con, and there's this event and that event, and stream for this and stream for that, and this content, this game, and that game. And it's a lot easier, in my opinion, because I got to cross a border. I probably got to take a flight. A lot of times people are able to drive to these events, so it's an easy yes. It's an easy, confirmation of attendance to these events. So this one is pretty special to me. It's tough though because these cost money, and if you're not necessarily able to afford, like, let's say, hotels, downtown Toronto you're not looking at no cheap hotels, and some people would just go in the early morning and drive back and drive there and all that, but that's too tiring, and you want to give the especially when you're streaming, not just going for the event to walk around and check things out, but when you're streaming you want as much energy as possible. So I'll be heading down the night before, staying overnight, and then coming back on Friday after the stream is done. So that's pretty big this week, and I'm excited because I'm not sure what the community has in store. I'm not sure how much we're going to raise in total, but I think at the end of the day, no matter how much you raise, it's the fact that you're bringing awareness to the foundation, to the cause, and it is a piece of togetherness. It's definitely something that people can get together no matter where you're from, no matter who you are. A lot of people have had friends, family suffer from cancer. And like I said, there's some community members who have suffered from cancer themselves and luckily beat that thing. So with that being said, it's pretty special this week. And I don't know. It's big for me. It's big for me. I don't know if I'm going to take the time to try and meet some of these celebrities that are there. I think it would be really cool to get pictures with some of them. I mean, I've watched Back into the Future. Michael J. Fox, huge fan, and his journey now with Parkinson's and his life. But also, the actor of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I love Star Wars, and I love the series. I love what he's done for the movies, and that would be pretty cool, too. And there's a bunch of other ones there. So, yeah. Also, the dog from Deadpool is there. Dogpool. How could you say no? So with that being said, it's a very short episode this week. We got a lot going on. I'm actually streaming today on Monday, which is usually my day off, but we took Saturday off. I had to go down south for a motorcycle maintenance period. So that took my entire day because it's about 2.5 hour ride. So, it was a long while. So that being said, we're streaming today. I got to do the podcast and the other things, and that's what I usually do with my day off, but it ain't a day off today. Oh, I also got to get dog food. Larry needs dog food. She's doing really good, by the way. She's a monster. She's almost 75 pounds. I might need help pretty soon. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. I hope it's sunny where you're at. If it is, go outside. Breathe the air. If you don't want to do it for too long, that's fine. Just breathe it in a little bit. All right. Thanks for listening. And as always, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.